everyone, how are you doing? You have Mike here today. And what we're going to do is a little bit of maintenance on the 35-gallon Aquascape Aquarium. Now, everybody has their Python, as they know and love. But the only problem is with the Python is you can't really get into some of these places down behind the plant or in behind my fixtures, because I have lights here, so that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. So I can't really use this to get it down there. But we can still use this in your tank. I'm going to show you a trick with that. So what I'm going to do is just place this into my tank for now. And I'm going to go over some of the other tools. So I do have a medium-sized gravel vac here as well. And I also have just a really small one. Now for these you do have to, unfortunately, use a bucket. But if you do have a pump that you got connected to a hose, you can throw that pump in the bucket. That'll save you a little bit of time as well. So before I go too far, one thing that I did want to show you guys is a little trick on how to start a siphon without having to use your mouth, because that is terrible. I hear people complain about that all the time. So I'm going to show you how I do this. So all you have to do is stick your gravel vac all the way in. And as you can see, it's in. I'm just going to easily put my finger over the hole, pull it up. That is water in the bucket. So that is the simple way in order to, that's a very simple way on how to start your siphon. Alright, now that's done, throw that in there. So, I also have a convenient little hose here. This hose actually is going to come in handy. Now, what I like to do is I do have a power head in this tank. So conveniently, I can take this hose. Make sure you always have this end in the tank when you go to do this, so you don't have a mess. I have done this already. So let's see if I can get this on camera here, and from a reverse angle, if I can actually see it. Oh, come on, fit in there. All right, here we go. So as you can see, now I've got this coming out of the hose, and I can move this around my tank. So I'm just going to throw this in my tank for now, and I'm going to use the same technique that I used before to get my Python going, because I'm not down with wasting tons of water. Whoops. I'm not down with wasting tons of water in order to do a water change. I'm already wasting enough water doing that water change because I do quite a few water changes in my tanks. So wasting water while draining out a tank just doesn't seem practical for me. So once again, doing the same thing, lowering this down, tipping it over the edge, starting my siphon. That is it. It's started. It's good to go. So here's where my cool little trick comes in. This really here does actually work very well. Now I have my hose, and all I have to do is just kind of blow out all of the poop, because there's a lot of fish waste in here with the plecos. I've got 3 albino plecos in here. They're kind of just growing out, and then we're going to move them later. But as you can see, where you can't really get into the place, I'm actually pushing this right up, and it's doing a good job. Now I'm going to give you guys a little bit better of a view here. So yeah, now that you can see a little bit better here close up, you'll see that just using the flow really does help to push some of the material to the front. And you can see I have my gravel vac, my Python there. It's sucking up all the waste pretty well. It really comes in handy, and like I said, I can get that hose in there a lot better than I can even get my small spot cleaner. So it really does help. You can see that getting between the rocks, it really does push out the debris between the rocks, where you, even if you had your small gravel vac, any gravel vac there, it's not going to really pull that out. So that really does make it a lot easier. You'll see here that I am actually doing quite the water change on my tank, just like I do on all my other tanks. It's on the same schedule. You could definitely keep a nice planted tank with doing a heavy water change schedule. I have a lot of fish in there. My fish are a priority in my tank. My plants, they do look nice, but my main priority is my fish. And so at least what I can do for my fish is to keep them nice and healthy and do a lot of water changes. And my plants are doing really well. I have new little pieces that are starting to grow in my Java moss, and I'm kind of pulling them out, and I got to plant them, and it's kind of making more of a bushier area. And like I said, my plants are doing great. They're reproducing, they're growing taller, they're starting to look really green. Within the last couple of days, my mosses have really turned around, which is an absolute bonus. I think that's because of the new fertilizer that I've been using, but we'll get into that in a moment. But as of now, this tank is just, it's absolutely amazing. I'm very happy with it. Very happy with the plants, and very happy that Kevin was nice enough to take me along with this journey and explain this whole process of aquascaping. So yeah, let's get into what we've been using to fertilizer tanks. Alright, so now we've got this tank filled up. What we're going to do is basically just go over what we're actually using in this tank for fertilizers. So I'm actually using a couple products here, all by Seachem. This is the Aqua Vitra line. So to start off with, what I do use is the primer. So this here removes your chlorines and chloramines, and it gives some trace elements that are needed to keep your plants growing healthy. So that is a bonus. This is a product that I do actually like. I'm also using the Envy. So this here is supposed to help make your plants grow really green, which is something that is cool. I'm not really sure how some of these all work, but they have been working well in my aquarium. So I also have the Activate and the Synthesis. So the Synthesis is more of your ammonium nitrate and organic nitrogen, and your Activate. Now the difference with these two products, 5 milliliters, so one inner capful does 180 gallons. So in order to actually get that right mix that you need for your tank, since this is only a 35 gallon, I'm using a pipette which actually comes in the bottle, and literally I'm only using like 3 drops of this. So these bottles here are going to last me forever in this tank because I'm using so little of them. The only thing that is a little bit difficult is, am I really putting the right mix in? It's a little bit harder to tell, especially since I'm newer in the plant world. How are my plants looking really healthy with this? Are they not? It's kind of a little bit more difficult for me. So what I have here is another solution. Now this here has been recommended to me by pretty much every plant keeper that I've talked to on the forums, including our friend Kevin, who has basically just told me that you have to use this product, Mike. So here we have a bottle of Thrive. Now this is an all-in-one fertilizer. It is a lot easier to use and to dose. Very simple. 1 pump per 10 gallons. Now that's for highlight tanks. You can go dose 3 times per week. It wants a suggested 50% water change, which we already do. But we're kind of more of a lower to medium light. I've got my lights dialed right back for these plants. So we're talking about 1 to 2 doses per week. So that kind of works out with my water change schedule. Every 3 days, I drop this thing down to 70%. But I'd rather have my tank spotless, clean, fresh water every time I dose. So, yeah, that's basically how I go about doing it. And like I said, if you guys want to try this product out, Thrive is very highly recommended. I've only used it in my tank now for about 3 days. And I do see some of my plants starting to look a little bit nicer than what they did before. And I think that has to do with just because I'm using so many different products and trying to find that perfect mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another startup tank that I'm going to use these Seachem products in and see if I can find that perfect mix that I'm looking for and see how it works. But as of right now, I'm definitely going to be using this Thrive. And we're probably going to do another video on this stuff because I'm trying to learn a little bit more about these products so we can actually get into an in-depth, detailed video for you. So I hope you enjoyed this little water change video. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and you guys have yourself a great day.